they also make mention of this story on the front pages today. That's how interesting this story is, especially for the region. And if I can look at some of the papers, I think the Daily, is it the New Vision? The New Vision has a question there on the front page, bottom right-hand corner. If we could get it on this screen, probably I could be able to read it. And it talks about, it asks the question, did the DRC crisis affect Raila Odinga's performance? Did it cost him that? On the Mwananchi, gazeti la kule Tanzania, pale juu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wanasema Rais Ruto alaumiwa kwa the loss that Raila Odinga suffered in the AU. Bwana Gakuya, definitely people will want to blame everyone. Raila Odinga himself has said, please don't blame President Ruto. He has done the best he could. Who should we blame, if at all someone needs to be blamed?
Edemore, my view is will be a bit different from what the panelist is analyzing. Because it's not only Kenya which lost. Let us note that we had 3 candidates, and whole of the 3 candidates, none of them we could wish out. There is a candidate who is a Madagascar candidate whom I could not have expected that he's going to garner a single vote, because he was nowhere, even in the highlights of the candidates that had a hope to clean that particular position. And I don't think that actually we can blame ourselves wholly, that we could have stepped out of this particular competition, because right from the beginning we knew that we are going to fall. It is important to try, because it is through try when you can also get an opportunity. And every single competition, even whether it's a football, there has to be a winner at the end of the day. And if I can take now the difference margin of the candidate, our candidate and Djibouti candidate, the margin was 4 votes. That means if you could have done it more better, and especially, let us note that Raila in the first round he won, because he garnered 20 votes, and Djibouti garnered 18, and when Madagascar garnered 10. But the game changed when the Madagascar candidate then was dropped. And that's where we could have done a lot of mechanism to woo those countries who supported the Madagascar candidate, because we realized that in fact majority of the Madagascar supporters moved with the Djibouti. The chronology there, I could not understand it very well. How, because you realize that the farm 20 countries that supported with Raila moved with him to the 6th round, until the 6th round. He never lost a single out of the 20. He was losing the 2 and 1 at some time, but the solid 20, he was able to finish the race with the solid 20. Then plus 2 at his 6th round. And this, to me, if there could be a more better plan to the fallout of those countries that were in support of Madagascar, if we could be able to split that number, probably we could win this battle. Because the lose with the 4 votes, to me, it was a very poor performance to me. But the problem here is that, in fact, the resources has been spent, and probably we may require to have an accountability of the same resources. We need to know whether these were taxpayers' money, because as a parliament, we never approved a budget for that particular exercise. We need to understand where these resources were coming from. We have no problem if the resources were donor funds. I have no problem with that, but let us be very clear and Kenya understand who was funding this particular exercise, and let the record be very clear. And if it is taxpayers' money, let us get to know who authorized the expenditure of such money without an approval of the House. Okay. And finally, let me also state that let us also say we know dynamics, because we are not a first contender for that particular position. We must have learned, and we have a knowledge of how these French countries has been performing, how SADC does, and all those mechanisms. And I don't know how we moved Africa to this kind of clusters. Probably we need to look and find how we can lock ourselves out of this, because those clusters, to me, they may not be very healthy, and even in the future.
You said something interesting, that it's good to try. It's only in trying that you can find out whether you are capable of doing it. But looking at the chronology of our losses at that level, on the front page of the Daily Nation, I would tend to agree with the other two gentlemen that probably we had no business trying out this time round. Are you saying your feeling is different, that probably in future we might win?
No.
And what will we require for us?
In fact, in this game, you can only be able to measure yourself once you are in the trial. When you are out of the trial, how can you measure yourself? At the tail end of this particular exercise, we have measured ourselves. In this case, even though it is not very known, because these votes were casted on a secret ballot, but Raila Odinga knows who those stood with him. Yes, but what we need to do is to know where did we got lost, and how can we be able to...
But we've lost before with Amina Mohammed in 2017, surely.
That's fine, but it does not mean that, in fact, because we have lost with Amina and we have now lost with Raila, that we skip completely out of these exercises. Because this particular position belongs to any single African country. And therefore, what we should do is to know our weaknesses and capitalize on building our weakness to our strength for the second, for future kind of competition. Okay. But in fact, at the end of the day, the problem here is that we don't have any mendo for the second findo. It's only a mendo for the winner. And that's the only mistake that in this particular exercise.
All right. When Amanduku, you saw that question on the front page of the New Vision, which is a Ugandan paper, asking whether or not the DRC crisis may have led